Alright, so we are back working on portfolios for Math 1100 quantitative reasoning. So we have done a couple here lately, but now we need to do another one since we have 8 due all semester, but there's 4 coming due here pretty soon. Now one of the ones that's coming due, let's go see what they are. There's course content, go to portfolios. Today we're going to be working on this one right here. Page 133, that's lesson 2-6, and we want to do the technology 1. Now it's been a little while since we were on chapter 2. In fact, we took chapter 3 test today. So let's go and refresh our memories. So let's see here. Let's go to the ebook. So we want to do Technology 1 on page 133. It says complete the spreadsheet below down to the row for 30 people. In the group section, you notice a pattern using inductive reasoning. Use that pattern to write formulas in column B. In the class section, we developed a formula for the number of handshakes required. Use that formula in column E. A template to help you get started can be found in the online resources for this lesson. Alright, so let's go to the online resources for this lesson. So go back to Blackboard, go over here to course content, go to additional course resources. Again, this might take a few minutes to load. Now I've almost forgotten. I think this is 2.6, I think it was. Yeah, Handshakes template. So download this. Okay, give it a sec, open Excel up, and again remember you have to hit enable editing up here because it's currently in read-only mode. Okay, so now we're good to go. Now you see here, this looks just like our ebook did, but our ebook says to first of all complete this, extend the chart to where it's down for 30 people. So we need to continue the chart way down. Okay, and then for column B, we need to use a formula we developed in class, in our group work that is. And in column E, we need to get we need to use the formula we developed during the class portion, the non-group work portion. So let's go back to Excel. So the first step is to extend column A, that's not column A, column A, and column D down to where it goes, the numbers go down to 30. So we need to add a whole bunch of rows here. So we need to do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now make sure not to skip any numbers or have any duplicates because that's going to mess your formulas up in a little while. I had a few students having issues with having the answer right because they had an error right here. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Now, let's double check to make sure I didn't skip anything or have any duplicates. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay, that's good. Now, we want to do the same thing here. Now, you could do exactly what we just did there and type them all out, but guess what? I'm all about shortcuts. So like I told you in the last, or I taught you in the last video, a way to select a lot of cells at one time. And the way if you want to select a bunch of cells between 2 endpoints is select one of the endpoints, hold the shift key down, and click the other endpoint. See, I selected all of those numbers. Then I can right click, copy, then go over here to where I want my row to start over here, and paste. And see, I didn't have to type all those numbers again. So that worked out really nicely. Okay, now let's see. Now I want to talk about the formulas. Now, in this section, we talked about numbers called the triangular numbers. Now, you probably have forgotten that term. It's been a little while, but let me refresh your memory. The triangular numbers, let's see, let me get a text box, and I'll let's see, review a little bit. So triangular numbers. These were the numbers that we used to describe the number of handshakes when you had 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people. It was a sequence of numbers. And if you remember right, the triangular numbers followed this pattern. 2, 3, 1, 3, 6, let's see, 10, 15, 21, and let's see, 21, 28, so forth and so on. Now, when we were in class, we developed a pattern here. And if you see the pattern here, to go from 1 to 3, you're adding 2. From 3 to 6, you're adding 3. From 6 to 10, you're adding 4. Then you're adding 5. Then you're adding 6. Then you're adding 7. Okay, that's the pattern. To go, the next number would be 36 because you're going to add 8 to 36. Then you would add 9. Then you would add 10. That's how you get the next number in the sequence. Okay, now we want to figure out how to use a formula to create those numbers in this column. Now, this is in a table form. Now let's think about this. Let's look here. So let's look at actually this row right here. What do you notice about 3? Well, how do we go from 1 to 3? Well, we added 2. Well, guess where there's a 2 in this area? There's a 2 right there. So we could say to get 3 in cell, okay, that's cell B4, column B, row 4. To get that 3 in cell B4, we added this 2 and that 1. That 2 lives in cell A3, and that 1 lives in cell B3. So we could say, instead of having an actual 3 type there, delete that, we can write the formula equals A3 plus B, cell B3. See how it highlighted those 2 cells? There's blue and green, and it corresponds to the blue text there and green text there. So that's showing you where our information is coming from, where our cell references are. So hit enter and see that Excel took the information, the numbers in cells A3 and B3, added them together, and put that solution in cell B4. Now, what do you notice about 6? 6 is equal to 3 plus 3, which is cell A4 and B4. So instead of actually typing a 6 there, we can use Excel to add up those 2 3s, which live in cells A4 and B4. Notice again, Excel is highlighting the cells that I'm referencing. So if you notice a cell over here is getting referenced, or way over here, you probably typed it in wrong. Now hit enter, and that works out. So what would you expect the formula to be here? Well, we know in the sequence a 10 is next. You're looking at our sequence of numbers over here. So that would be cell A5 plus cell B5. So type equals A5 plus B. Oh, you know what? I had a lowercase there. Yeah, I always type uppercase because I like it to look nice. But there's no problem with typing a lowercase b there. See how it highlighted in green the 6, which is cell B5. But I'll go back and put it uppercase just because I like it in uppercase. So there we are. Now, we can continue that pattern all the way down. In fact, if we do it, I'll do it one more time before we take a shortcut. We can say the next, actually we know that the next number in our sequence is 15. 15 is 5 plus 10, that's cell A6 plus cell B6. So equals A6 plus B6. And we get the 15 we're looking for. Now let's copy and paste that formula. Now Excel is smart. If we copy this cell right here, it's actually not going to copy that 15. It's going to copy the underlying formula. The underlying formula Excel knows is not simply A6 plus B6. It knows that we're going to follow the pattern. We're going to take the cell directly above and the cell directly above to the left and add those together. Now use the little shortcut about selecting lots of cells at once that I showed you. Click on where you want to paste, click on the other end of where you want to paste while holding the Shift key. Then I'll select all the cells, and then we can right click and paste. Now notice it didn't copy 15 didn't paste 15 over and over again. It pasted the correct formula. Look at here. That should be these two numbers added up, which is cell A30 and B30. And if you check the formula down here, up here, it's exactly what Excel knew to do. So now let's see here. Notice how all these numbers are right justified when everything else is centered. Let's center everything. So go up here, and we're actually going to make this all look a little nicer too. So select all of this data up here. So click on that 435, that's the bottom right hand corner, and click on cell A1 while holding the Shift key. So click B31, then hold the Shift key, and click A31. That selects all that. Now let's go up here, and this is going to make it look nice. Let's center it. That's the center key, center button right there, center text. Okay, but now look here. See how it's all these borders around the cells for the template? Let's make the rest of those have nice borders. So let's select all that data again and go, let's see here. Where's that I'm looking for? Oh, here we are. Borders. So let's turn on a bottom border. Let's turn on all borders. There we go. See a little all borders. And look what happens. There, it looks nice and neat. We can go ahead and do that for these two columns over here. So select cell D1. Then we're going to have data all the way over here. So hit the Shift key and click down there. And let's go back and turn on all borders. That looks nice and neat. Then all we have to do after that is center it. Now, we in the class section found another formula to compute triangular numbers. Now again, you've probably forgotten about this, but here is another way to compute triangular numbers. Okay, and that formula was n times n minus 1, and then divide by 2. Okay? So, for instance, here's an example. If n is, we have to have n greater than 1. Okay? Because you don't have, for our purposes, n need to be greater than 1. Because if n is 1, you'll have 1 times 1 minus 1, which is 0, divided by 2. So you have 0 over 2, which is 0. Now, we're starting off with 2 over here. 2 is the smallest number we're working with. So if you start off with 2, notice what happens. You have 2 times 2 minus 1, which is 1. 2 on the numerator divided by 2 is 1. So that's the first number in our sequence. Then what if we plug in a 3? We will have 3 times 3 minus 1, which is 2. 3 times 2 is 6, divided by 2 is 3, which, if you go back over here and look at the numbers in our sequence, that's the next number in our sequence. What if n is equal to 4? That's the next number in column D. If n is equal to 4, we would have 4 times 3, which is 12, divided by 2, which is 6, which is the next number in our sequence. see how we're getting the exact same numbers here that are triangular numbers. So that's another way to generate the triangular numbers. So now let's use this formula that we've been talking about in column E. So in order to, we saw to get a 1 here, we said, now remember you always start a formula off with equals in Excel. Now we said if you took 2 times 2 minus 1, which was 1, 2 times 1 over 2 equals 1. Now we don't actually want to put 2 in that formula. We want to reference the cell where 2 lives. Well, the cell where 2 lives is right there. That's cell D3, column D, row 3. So we need to type equals D3 times, now remember times is the asterisk, times D3 minus 1, close parentheses, divided by, / divided by 2. That right there is this formula, but instead of an N, we're referencing cell D3. Notice D3 is has a blue text color, and cell D3 is highlighted in blue. So that shows us the cell we are referencing. So hit enter, and notice 1, exactly what we want it to be, appears. Because this formula right here evaluated at 2, excuse me, I said formula, this expression, there's no equal sign here, this expression evaluated at 2 equals 1. Now, let's evaluate that expression at 3. Now we're not going to type in 3 for N, we're going to type in cell D4, column D, row 4. So equals, so it's, if we follow the pattern over here, D4 times, open parentheses, D4 minus 1, close parentheses, divided by 2. Now, the next number in our sequence is a 3, so a 3 should appear there. And see, it does. Okay, now let's type one more time our formula, then we'll do some copying and pasting. Okay, so the next number in our sequence should be a 6. Now we want to evaluate this expression at 4, and the result should be a 6. So let's see. Type equals. Now we're going to reference cell D5. So D5 times, open parentheses, D5 minus 1, close parentheses, divided by 2. Again, this result should give us the next number in our triangular number sequence, which is 6. And see, it does. Okay, so I think we've typed the formula enough. If you didn't know how to copy and paste, you would have to type that formula over and over again until you got down to 30, each time referencing the cell to the left. Now, let's take a shortcut. Let's copy, and then you can paste, you can paste, you can paste, you can paste. But I'm going to take even more shortcut and select all those empty cells by using my little shift trick I told you, and then I'm going to paste all at one time. Now notice something curious here. Exactly what I've been telling you is these column E and column B were just two different ways to generate the triangular numbers. Remember, the context was we were talking about handshakes. And if you have a certain number of people in this column here, so let's say you have 13 people, then if you take people shaking hands 2 at a time, there would be 78 total handshakes when you have 13 people in your group. Okay? If you have 30 people in your group, then taking 2 people at a time, having them shake hands, and doing every possible combination of 2, there would be 435 total handshakes. And again, column B and column E were 2 different ways to generate the triangular numbers, which were the numbers that we found were quite useful at describing the number of handshakes when you have n number of people. So, anything else we need to do? Let's check the book just to make sure we haven't left off any of the directions. So let's go over here to the ebook real fast. Let's see. It just says to complete the spreadsheet below, down to 30 people. No, we're not supposed to not do anything else necessarily. So I think we are done there. I can actually get rid of this text box since that's not part of the assignment. You don't need that. Double check to make sure that column E matches column B exactly, which, doing a quick look over, it does. Obviously, column A should match column D, because that's just counting the numbers 2 through 30. We fixed all of the formatting. We have everything centered. We have all the cells outlined with nice borders. And now all that's left to do is to name your file correctly. Remember, when you download a template, you have your name is just the default name of the file that the publisher gives the spreadsheet. We want to name it the way you're supposed to for Math 1100. So go to Save As, save it somewhere where you know. Go to Desktop. I've been helping people in the lab, and some people, save it wherever the default location is, and then they can't find the file later. So make sure to put it somewhere where you know the file is. I always say Desktop so you don't lose it. So I selected Desktop over here. Now remember, my name is Dr. Taylor Kilman, so let's see if you name it last name then first name, so Kilman _ Taylor, and this was on page, let me double check, was it 227 maybe? Let's see. Nope, 133. I was way off, so good thing I double checked. Page 133. So go back here and type P133. Okay, hit save, and that is all you have to do, of course, beyond actually submitting the assignment in Blackboard. Okay? Alright, so if you have any questions, of course, feel free to stop by my office. Of course, feel free to email me, call, whatever, but at least this should get you a good start and hopefully a good finish too. But if you run into any hiccups, certainly let me know and we can get you help. Okay? I'll see you soon. You guys have a nice afternoon, and we'll see you next week.